Well, it's the biggest podcast in La Mesa.
Whoa. Big statement.
I'm told. Maybe even the world. This is What the Podcast.
I love it.
No
Hold on.
no embellishing whatsoever.
Where's the vocal effect where it's like...
What the Podcast.
There you go. That was it. That was what it was.
I'm Ryan.
I'm John.
Together we are.
Ryan and John.
On the couch as always, Kara Tafoya.
Paula.
And the lovely Annie the Scove Scoveman.
Hi.
Anna.
Tune in this summer for the return of something Annie's been working on. Ooh, exciting. That's all I'll say about that.
Yeah. Don't get
Always fresh, never frozen.
No.
Let's get into it.
There's a lot of fresh stuff to talk about.
Go
A
ahead.
lot of stuff that happened in the last week.
Yeah,
Let's talk about what happened yesterday.
the 75th annual Hunger Games.
Literally. The Met Gala
Yes.
has just happened. The theme this year was Sleeping Beauty.
Okay.
The dress code was something...
Like Garden of Life or something?
Garden of Love or Garden...
So
something like...
where's
reimagining
what's
garden?
the distinction? Like, do you
So the dress code... So
the theme and the dress code are
The
different?
theme is all of what they have on display for because the whole thing is they put like a special display at the Met
Yeah.
Metropolitan Museum of Art, and that the theme, it corresponds to whatever exhibit that they have prepared. The dress code is different because it's like if it was like the dress code is Sleeping Beauty, everyone would be like, okay,
It was Sleeping Beauty Reawakening Fashion
Okay.
was the exhibit.
yeah.
Okay.
And the reawakening of fashion is they brought out a bunch of gowns and stuff that haven't been worn
So
in years.
why
So the
wouldn't
whole-
that be the dress code?
Garden of Time
Garden of Time
was the dress code. So it kind of went together because
like
it's
gardening.
reawakening fashion.
Yeah, so everything on
I don't
display
like it.
were costumes and designs that can no longer be worn by humans. They can be
Okay.
worn by animals. No,
Animals
just-
and maybe aliens when they find us.
Yeah, so it's like things that are like too delicate to be worn again, things that have been preserved, stuff like that.
But the big focus is these celebrities that show up to the Met Gala is kind of neither here nor there. It's more about the outfits people are wearing to said event.
Yeah, which they're always so freaking weird.
Yeah, always weird.
I'll say
Some
this
people
year's is
don't-
more normal than some other years.
It's supposed to be the most like outlandish, amazing outfits. It's not like Oscars red carpet. Like it's
Like,
supposed to be out
it's
there.
not cute. It's like weird.
no.
Yeah, it's supposed to be
weird.
like avant-garde.
Yeah. So it was a lot of people were garden, floral, nature forward, but some people also just went with the theme with
Yeah.
wearing really old gowns that have been in archives.
Which is cool. I think that's cooler. Personally, there are some that it's like I honestly thought like Ariana Grande performed, and I think her look was good. I do think that there's a lot more of like good looks than years past. I feel like years past it's been like, oh God, what were they
For
wearing?
anyone that wants to see what I'm looking at, I just pulled up. I'm airdropping to you.
Thank you.
A link to New York Times did a little recap and showed their 20 best best dressed in their picks.
Yeah.
The best, one of the best TikToks I saw that was related to this was Zendaya was like getting into the car from the hotel to go, and she had this like umbrella like that was covered in fabric, so you couldn't see her look
It was
at
so
all.
cool.
And it took her like 5 minutes from the door of the hotel to her Sprinter van to like navigate because obviously she couldn't see. And somebody's in the background going, "Is it even worth it? Just show
my
us."
God.
Funny. It's so funny.
And then she gets into the Sprinter with the umbrella still, and all of her team like piles in behind her, and they shut the door. You never got to look at her, but
You would think
somebody
she
was
would
just
get into a car
chirping.
like down in a garage or something.
Somebody
like,
was just chirping, like
Yeah.
like at first it started off really nice, like we want to see you, we love you, oh my gosh, and then all of a sudden
it
like
worth that?
Like five, because it took a long time, like literally 3 minutes in, somebody's like, really? Like, why are you even hiding it? Who cares?
Show us the outfit. Show us the outfit.
God.
And they started getting like angry. It was so funny. But yeah.
Well, I'd say it was worth it. She looks like some sort of
No, she looks like
Water
Ursula. She
witch.
looks ridiculous.
hers has like a bunch of grapes on it. So she was going for like a vineyard grapey, and then she had 2 looks.
She was going for grape. It's
Well-
giving
Going for grape. It's
grape.
giving
I was
grape.
going for.
Well, it gives a lot more towards the theme, I think, than Doja Cat's outfit. This looks like
Yeah.
a long, wet T-shirt.
Yep.
And you can see pretty much leaves nothing up to imagination there.
yeah.
Well, what about Anna Wintour, who just came in like a big trench coat?
No
Yeah.
sunglasses, which is
I
weird,
know.
'cause she always wears those
She
big
always
chunky
wears sunglasses. I mean, gorgeous, but she just came in like an embroidered jacket, basically.
Yeah. So if you don't know, Anna Wintour is the one who puts on.
She
The
is
Met
the
Gala.
editor
Oh, she's
of
the
Vogue.
queen.
She's the queen of
Yeah.
the Met Gala.
Wow.
For now, anyways.
Yeah,
until-
and then
Bad Bunny
she
here
makes-
looking like the Duke
Well,
of...
Let's be real. There's
is
also
something.
he
co-chairs.
looks like a sultan to me. almost.
Yeah.
What's
Oh,
crazy
I see
is
that.
the
Gothic
Met Gala
Sultan.
has co-chairs. And this year, the way they announced the co-chairs was a video like replicating a group chat being created.
Okay.
And this is how they announced who was going to be the
no.
co-chairs.
Odd.
And it was Anna Wintour making a group chat of Bad Bunny, Bad Bunny, Zendaya, J-Lo, and Chris Hemsworth, who were the co-chairs. And it was Anna texting and being like, "Are you guys available May 6th?
Come through.
And they're like, I think I can do that. Sure, yeah. What's the theme? Sleeping Beauty, Garden of Time. And like they're sending like gifts, like Bad Bunny sending a gif into it, which is like
Horrible.
all of this is fake. But like
No.
what, like the Met Gala,
It's not like summer
going
camp.
downhill.
It goes down like $75,000 a seat. And like that's how you announce the... You'd think there'd be some more
Yeah.
like
That's
elegance
funny.
to it.
and that's what's so funny is they're like striving for elegance. Like they
Yeah.
stopped inviting influencers.
Oh, yeah. It's
Like-
a big topic.
Anna Wintour made this whole thing of like, you know, the only person banned from the Met Gala
Okay.
is Donald Trump.
Oh.
Like the only person who like can never come back ever.
He's a major influencer
But
right
like
now.
they've like kind of like washed away the like Liza Koshy and Addison Rae went, the D'Amelio sisters went, and they like are not
Yeah.
in attendance anymore.
Because you have to be invited and then you pay $75,000 to go.
Unless you get invited
by a
and go
brand,
to
but yeah.
I was going to say,
a fashion sponsor.
I
and they pay
suppose
for it.
like they're...
But how can they control that?
I was
Like, do
going to
they
say, like,
tell them
has
no?
Emma Chamberlain like surpassed? Has she transcended influencer? Because
Well,
she
yeah,
was
'cause,
there.
like,
She was
I
on
guess
the
a bunch
carpet
of,
interviewing
quote, unquote,
people.
Celebrities complained about the influencers coming,
yeah.
quote unquote. But then I'm like, well, what qualifies as influencer? Because
Yeah.
like I feel like Emma Chamberlain, but did she go as like a member of the press in a way because she's interviewing
I
people?
think it's because Emma Chamberlain has been
Like a Vogue model, right?
she's been that for way longer than
Not
COVID TikTok.
yeah.
Liza Koshy's been there forever, though. She's been there for like 5 years.
Yeah, but I think Liza Koshy's never modeled for fashion. Like
I
So
suppose
the-
she
Emma
was-
Chamberlain is a model.
Yeah, she modeled
Yeah.
for Vogue.
So how
I
many
think.
times do you have to model to be like what brands do you have to model to be? You know,
Well, the big
like-
one is Vogue.
That's
'cause
what I'm
Vogue
saying,
Puts
so-
on.
But wasn't Liza
The biggest
Koshy on
live-
Vogue or something?
But why is it that Lana Del Rey can come showing up dressed like
Okay,
a
Mosquito net.
mosquito net?
I honestly, I really liked hers. Hers and Emma Chamberlain's were both like branch tree of life.
I like the
themed.
trees coming out of her back,
liked
but
it.
I don't know about the little sheer situation.
I liked
Well,
it.
and then there's like like a lot of the looks I was looking at. I was like, I don't recognize any of these people.
Uh-huh.
Like I have no idea who this is. Like
A lot of
models
them were
and stuff.
models.
And I'm like, I mean, you make the. I guess at that point it's like they want models wearing their looks because
Yeah.
it's about the look. But then I'm like, I'm there to see the people. I thought Kim Kardashian's look was like a total flop. I think her hair really ruined it. I
there
think,
were so
she
many
was tripping
people.
me out. Her waist was like that big.
It's so small.
yeah.
There were
like-
so many people who went with like the silver medal theme
Yeah.
this year, and all those people, like at least Kim wore like darker makeup.
Yeah.
But a lot of people who wore silver, it fully washed them out, and it was not.
Oh,
good.
Zendaya had two outfits.
yeah.
Yeah, she did.
She walked down
had
the aisle
one,
twice.
one that was like brand new.
Red carpet.
Her Ursula grape one. Her second one was, I think it was Oscar de la Renta. It was an archival piece.
Okay.
I mean,
So-
like that is crazy, right? Like the idea that it's like this historic event, and you can wear these like literal pieces of history of these like
Yeah.
billion-dollar. Like the whole idea is that fashion is art. Like that's
Sure.
the whole thing of the Met Gala. Fashion is art. Every exhibit is about like fashion, you know, as an art form, whatever. But it is like crazy, like how much money. Like I would love to know the net worth of the pieces worn to the Met Gala.
Yeah.
Not even like I don't care about what the people cost, but like how much money is in fabric,
Right.
Yeah.
like there.
Mine is all of the men's suits that are, they have one brooch
Yeah. It's like
Did you
$1
see
million.
There's
So
a
boring.
Diamond
TikTok. There's like an
encrusted.
interviewer who was like, "Oh, are you guys matching?" And it's just because they're both wearing black tuxes.
Oh my
And they're
gosh.
like, "No. Do we look like we're matching?" And she's like,
Yes.
"Yeah, you look like
There
you're
were a couple
matching."
couples who came in matching. Sam Smith and their partner. I don't know if it's their partner or if they just came together. They did like a black and white suit matching thing. Noah Galvin and Ben Platt did a matching
Suit
Did
situation.
Jared Leto go? He's like the big
No,
one where
I
he always
didn't
does
see
a
him.
weirdo thing.
If I had an event, I'd ban him. So I imagine
Really?
Why?
Why that?
Jared Leto.
Why
He's
would
a
you ban
freak.
him?
He's look
I don't want
crazy.
him there.
Somebody said I looked like Jared Leto the other day, and I was like, I'm gonna try to take this.
That's why.
at all. So
That's why
The
I'd
only
ban him.
reason I liked Bad Bunny's
Event's only
look
big enough for one John.
is because most of the time, male
Uh huh.
identifying people don't do anything fun.
I liked.
So at least Bad Bunny was
I
kind of
liked
fun.
Eddie Redmayne's situation.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
matching with whoever he came with too.
It was like
It was like a sheer.
it was like a
black-
suit, but it was like a gown looking situation, and it was all like splotchy black and white.
Yeah, that one was cool.
It's. I mean, here's the thing. It's in the way that you frame it, right?
Yeah, true.
Because the Met Gala is basically Comic-Con.
yeah.
Like people showing up in wacky outfits.
Yep.
Like a lot of money poured into it. Celebrities are there.
What was your favorite look?
Let me look back at the chart here.
Weirdly enough, was Brie Larson. I don't think she necessarily hit the theme the perfect or everything, but I just like looking at it. I was like, man, I think she looks great. Like it was like a timeless piece. I think it was like edgy enough. I think her hair and makeup look great, and I'm like, man, she looks great.
Yeah.
I
Brie
like
Larson.
this Coleman Domingo's outfit.
Yes, Coleman Domingo.
Cool.
He
So
always
good.
comes in with a cape.
It's like a white suit top
When
with
else
a
do you
cape.
get to wear a cape?
I was gonna say, like, if I could wear any of these outfits, it'd be that or it'd be Bad Bunny.
Bunny's.
Bad
Yep.
Bunny.
Wear that.
I would fully wear that
I feel
out
like
to
you
a bar
guys
or
have
something.
like we have a lot more to be like, oh, which would we wear? Where you guys, it's like, which black suit would you want to wear?
Oh, what's this guy's name? That's in what do you call it?
It's so far away, right? We
Yeah.
can't see it.
Doesn't it say his name?
He's the hot priest. He's the hot priest in,
In Fleabag?
Fleabag.
I don't know.
I
his
don't
name.
know.
Doesn't matter.
I like
he's
Donald
doing this
Glover's look.
Donald Glover's
sleeveless
look good.
situation.
Donald Glover always brings
Boring.
in a cool vibe.
Freaking
Really?
boring. Yeah.
Jude
I
Law,
liked
too.
it.
See, but that's the thing. I wouldn't wear something eccentric like that. I like something clean and neat. And
I'd go for the
That-
Stephen Yoon situation.
Umbrella.
Vibes.
It's like kind of textured suit, and he's walking
that's
with an
like,
umbrella cane.
I see what you mean about like it's boring, but I'm like at the same time,
Or-
like, what would I actually wear? I wear something like
you guys
that.
know who Cole Escola is?
No.
No.
That's pretty cool.
He looks like a bride, like a grandma bride, little
Yeah.
Debbie
Yep.
situation.
Dude,
See, that was a crazy thing is that all these celebrities, a lot of gowns like Sydney Sweeney
Yeah,
came in with a black, like kind of blunt, wavy bob.
yeah. She looked like Billie Eilish.
But her outfit didn't look like finished. And then
Mm-hmm.
other pictures came out of her inside with this beautiful beaded veil over her face. And I was like, where was that on the red carpet?
I suppose
Just
I'd wear
so
a
weird.
dress.
It was so much
I
better.
mean, there's no rules, right? You can wear whatever you want.
My top, I have two, two, was a woman named Mona Patel, who she's a tech entrepreneur.
Oh,
she
slay.
came out in like a sheer like butterfly dress, and she had these things on her arms
Oh, I
that
saw
looked like
this.
butterflies, and they opened and shut
They were like
by
little.
themselves. It was gorgeous. That and Elle Fanning's.
Oh, I love
Elle
her.
Fanning's was so pretty.
This is a side note, but I think this year for a lip sync battle, we should do a full like red carpet moment, like the outfits everybody wears, take pictures, and
when it's toga party, all the things.
dude,
party.
that's gonna be so.
I'll do the
good.
wet-
wet
excited.
toga party look.
Oh god, just a wet sheet.
Yikes! Awesome.
Very in.
Very in. Very in.
What else is very in?
Oh,
Yeah, there she goes.
Ding ding ding. The feud in the rap world.
yes. Here we are, the experts on.
John, have you heard about this?
I've heard about it. I don't know the exact
Oh,
details.
boy.
I heard
It's-
pieces of it, of course.
Let
Because
me-
you can't be on
Ryan and
TikTok
Kara
without
are
hearing
experts.
it.
are experts.
Let me break it down for you.
Go ahead.
Break it down.
This is at 30,000 feet view here.
Okay,
So
thank you.
J. Cole. You know J. Cole? Uh-huh. He's a rapper. We've got a couple of characters in play. We got J. Cole, we got Drake, and we've got Kendrick Lamar.
And Taylor Swift.
Some of the
She made her way in.
Oh my gosh.
no. Just
No.
auxiliary. She's not a part of it, but okay.
Thank you.
So J. Cole puts out this track that's like basically saying, you know, hey, the big three of rap right now, and maybe of all time, we're the best. He's like, I don't know if it's me or if it's Kendrick or if it's Drake. That's the big three in this song
This
you put
era
out.
of rap.
Cool.
In this song
Very
you
cool.
put out.
Love it.
Kendrick turns around and goes, nah, F that. F you guys. It's just me. There is no big three. It's just me, baby. What's
I'm
up?
the best.
Bold.
Bold. I don't know how much you've listened to Kendrick Lamar. I'd
Not
say
even a little.
like he kind of wanes poetic. Like his albums, his like bars and phrases and stuff. I'm like, I feel like he is like fully next level. But that's a side note. That's my opinion here.
That's my opinion.
J. Cole basically is like, yeah, you know what? I wasn't trying to like start something. So he's like, I don't know. That's like a big claim.
And this
but
was in a Drake song.
this was in
J. Cole and Drake collabed for a song.
yeah.
Okay, so he's jealous he wasn't on the song.
But Drake's like, no, F that. I don't like you, Kendrick. And here's why. You're a little man, you're short, and you don't spend any time with your kids. I'm a family man myself, me, Drake. But you and you're just, you're kind of a POS and you're not even like in the game. We're the greatest over here. Kendrick, that if that response was like Pearl Harbor, Kendrick came back with like bombing Nagasaki. He absolutely went scorched earth on Drake.
That was Beat the Grams, right?
Yes.
It's his response. Person by person through Drake's whole family addressing them and apologizing for like why Drake is the way he
gigantic allegations saying that he hits on underage girls. He has a secret daughter that he doesn't contact.
Okay.
He's a pedophile. He's a
And this is like what,
clout
like
chaser.
16 hours after Drake dropped his diss track. He
dropped another diss
He
track.
recorded it and dropped it right away.
Man, I missed diss tracks. Awesome.
Yeah. Oh,
It is
trust me, it is
crazy.
alive and well in 2024.
And then he goes through he talks to Drake's daughter in the song, and then his mom and his dad, and is like F you guys for basically effing up your kid. He's like a narcissist and it's your fault. And then he talks to Drake in the song. Is like, hey man, like I feel bad for you, but like this is the facts. Like you're basically a horrible person.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like take credit for what you're doing.
that anybody would respond to that is like, it's
Wow.
crazy.
Yes.
And then Drake comes back with kind of like a soft
He's like, you
rebuttal.
idiot. I don't
He's
have
like,
a daughter.
He's like, I don't. Yeah. He's like, he kind of alleged that like he had a plant, like he had a double agent in Kendrick's circle that was like feeding him false information and was like I can't believe you bought that, bro. Like I don't have a daughter.
But
and like
didn't,
that was the whole thing. Didn't address the pedophilia.
Yeah, didn't address the multiple other kids that he's like hiding because he's like ashamed of all the baby mamas he has. Like didn't address any of that. He's just like, you idiot, you don't do your research.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kendrick
A lot
was
of that's
like
wrong.
Kendrick
That's
had a
right.
bar that was like, you brag about effing 10s, but the only one you care about is 11. That's a Stranger Thing. Like talking about Millie Bobby Brown.
Yeah.
When he was like
He literally was
casually
DMing her when she was like 16.
14, like in the show still, being like, hey girl, what's up?
Wow.
Yeah. Crazy.
I did see the part where Kendrick posted an album art of like Drake's stuff.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's
And it
the
was like,
album
that's
cover.
how far I'm in your
Yep.
organization is. Like my boy sent me that.
like,
And,
I'm in your head. I got your shit.
and people were like, somebody was analyzing and saying like it looks real. It might not be real. He's like, but the fact that like it's even close is crazy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 'cause that
Yes.
was another thing he accused Drake of is like popping pills.
Yeah.
that like you don't spend time with you say you're a family man, but you don't even spend time with your families because you're like too busy getting
He's
high.
like, you're talking about like being ripped, being swole, but you're on Ozempic.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. And then the follow-up one that was about like him being a pedophile, basically, it was like a Google Earth picture of Drake's house, and it had the like Megan's Law like logo over it or something. Like,
and all the like little red dots because that was another thing. It was like you have pedophiles on your payroll.
Yeah.
that like he's in like employing people on his team that are like no.
so there was like a bunch of the
predators.
dots. It's gnarly. And
How do you
obviously
think it'll end?
we have no business talking about it
Oh
probably.
no,
Yeah.
but honestly,
So the
Prediction.
full,
So good.
the
Shit
full
kinda slaps.
timeline is the lyric of J. Cole saying the big three.
Yeah.
J. Cole then apologizes to Kendrick Lamar for
Yeah.
the lame diss
Okay.
in 7-minute drill.
Okay.
Whatever. In April, Drake releases Push Ups,
Okay.
which is the
Yeah.
first diss to Kendrick Lamar, which tied in Taylor Swift because he was making fun of Kendrick Lamar
That's right.
for not
Okay.
dropping his album because he was waiting for a Bad Blood
Because
to
they're-
come out because
they're tight.
Kendrick Lamar did a Bad Blood rendition with Taylor
Right.
Swift.
Okay.
So Drake was like, you would wait for her to drop her album before you...
Like
that-
you're whipped. You're
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
So then late April, Kendrick Lamar called Drake a scam artist on Euphoria
Okay.
diss. There's a song called Euphoria. May 3rd, Kendrick Lamar goes after Drake's OVO record label. And then May 3rd, Drake makes Kendrick Lamar abuse allegations on Family Matters. So that's May 3rd. Still May 3rd. May 4th, Kendrick Lamar for Not Like Us. And then a lot of it was in May.
Yeah.
May 5th.
Which
by
is
the way,
the month we
that's-
are in.
Right now.
We're in right now.
Yeah. May 5th, which was
2 days ago.
2 days ago. So
At the time of this recording.
Drake drops his like
Thank you.
big diss track. 16 minutes later, Kendrick drops
So gnarly.
Family Matters.
He was like hovering over the button.
And then Sunday, the next day, Drake dropped the Heart Part 6.
Which was him being like, nuh-uh,
No,
I don't. No, I
which-
don't.
Oh,
What's
remember
crazy?
you got
I don't even like
molested.
kids, yeah.
He brought
Oh,
up Kendrick
that's-
Lamar's
That's the whole
molestation.
thing where he was like, yeah, you're kind of obsessed with this because like you were molested. Like that, like
Drake said
grow
that.
up. And it was like,
And
So
bro,
gnarly.
that's
what?
for now. That's been the end of it.
Yeah.
And yeah, not Drake being like, yeah, you're kind of obsessed with pedophiles
Why are
because
you
you were
so
like a
obsessed with me?
victim.
Oh my gosh. The
Like,
crazy
no.
thing is the
my favorite part is and maybe the thing I'm gonna be singing for the rest of the season is apparently Drake reached out to Metro Booming. He's a producer and he makes beats and stuff. And he was like, "Hey, like, can you help me like make a beat like so I can use
he
it?"
said make a better one.
Metro
like,
Boomin
you
was
haven't
like-
been making good beats.
Drake, screw you, man. Like, I'm gonna make this and release it. This is called BBL Drizzy.
Because the whole thing was Drake got a BBL. Brazilian butt lift.
Oh my gosh.
I'll just get to the beat.
And I
And
guess
then, like
now-
everything else, everyone on TikTok is now a bunch of rappers are making
Yeah.
similar like diss tracks at Drake, being like dunking on him to BBL Drizzy.
There was like a whole one too where Kendrick says something in his diss track to him about like, bro, like why are you like pretending to be black now? Like you literally like made your
Crazy.
career on pretending to be white and now you're trying to backtrack.
Yeah. What's that called? Something switching,
Yeah. I know.
signal switching or something like that.
So it's so crazy to just that this is happening.
I think the craziest part for me that like we can actually like dissect. I mean, obviously, like crazy petty stuff like this happens in hip hop like a lot, but like that somebody would be so like it's such poison in your mouth about somebody else. You know, it's like
Yeah.
it's so like, oh, I've got bars ready for you, and I'm going to literally like write this rap and be so poetic with my phrase. And it's like about you being a piece of shit, you know? It's
and
so
like
crazy.
wanting you to die.
Yeah.
Kendrick Lamar's
crazy.
literally says like,
Go die.
go die. Like, I wish you did.
It's so crazy.
Which is like wild too, because it's like you guys have so much money, like you have nothing better to do with your life.
Yeah.
There's like nothing more important. Like there's a Phineas song that is literally like the kids are
chicka,
dying.
Bow, wow.
That's like talking about how like we're like sitting here talking about stupid crap and like there's like school shootings happening and kids are dying and like this is what we're talking about. And every once in a while I'm like, man, Phineas, you gotta blow that up because like just start sending it to these guys. Like you need to have like some just reality in your life.
You're not talking about Phineas and Ferb.
No, I'm talking
No.
about Phineas, like
Phineas
Phineas,
Eilish.
and Billie Eilish.
Oh. So not
Not Phineas and Ferb.
not the Aglet song.
Is it Phineas Eilish?
They're
I
brother
don't
and
think
sister.
Phineas Eilish. His name's not Phineas Eilish, is it?
Well, is their last name is
Is
there-
I
Eilish?
don't know.
Eilish.
I feel like that's a
Eilish.
stage name.
Is it?
Phineas.
That's not their real last
Let's
name.
find
I don't
out.
think.
Oh.
Oh, not Guineas. Whoops.
It's just Phineas, but also let's see.
Well, yeah, he just goes by Phineas.
Oh yeah, his
Phineas
last name is
Baird
William.
O'Connell.
O'Connell. Where'd you get
I wonder where
Eilish
Eilish
from?
comes from.
But I love Phineas Eilish. I think that's so awesome.
Phineas Eilish.
Her real
Eyelash.
name.
Eyelash.
I feel like
Just a
this
dig
is
to
so
him, be like,
fake.
oh, Mr. Phineas
You,
Eilish.
I feel like this is fake. You Google Billie Eilish's real name and it goes Billie Eilish Pirate Baird O'Connell.
So
and I'm like, I
Baird
think that's
O'Connell
fake.
must be their name. Their last
But like
name.
pirate, Billy,
Yeah.
go ahead. I know you're watching this.
It's her middle name.
Comment below if pirate is really your middle name because I just like can't believe that.
So I wonder where
Their
the
parents
Eilish
were
comes
pretty
from.
like
Hipsy,
artistic,
Hipsy?
you know.
Hippy dippy.
I could see it. I mean, kind of crazy, but
Well, speaking of the young people, the protesting across America actually made its way over
Oh my
to
gosh.
San Diego.
It's
I didn't hit the transition button,
crazy.
but that was kind of serious.
What do you mean protesting across
UCS.
America?
Yes, all the college campuses on the Palestinian-Israeli conflict war
crazy.
in the Gaza Strip. They were protesting over at UCSD.
Which
this
you're
weekend.
like, why are you protesting a college campus? But then
Oh yeah, I did a whole deep dive
We understand.
regarding
Oh,
it.
Go ahead.
Now.
You guys are really driving the episode today. You're in the driver's
Let me
seat.
tell you, John.
Go ahead.
I was like, yeah, why are these like? Because we talk about protesting and stuff a lot on this show.
Sure.
And like at first glance, I'm like, why wouldn't you like, if you're really like you
Protest the
want things to
Capitol or
change,
something.
go to DC, like
Yeah.
protest the Capitol.
Yeah.
Apparently, a lot of these like major, so not a lot of like major universities take they do this thing where they'll take everybody's what's the word for you pay
Tuition money.
tuition money, right? And they'll actually invest it in
Yeah.
whatever.
That sounds stupid.
Big
Make a lot of money.
stocks.
They make
yeah,
college
ta-
make a lot of money.
Yeah, they make a lot of money, and they're making money off of that money. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
College is a scam.
Yeah. Well,
Agreed.
I mean, word.
Heard ya.
But a lot of these, Big Ten schools and everything, they're putting a lot of money towards things like Lockheed Martin, which is like a weapons manufacturer. They're putting money towards all these things that are basically supporting this conflict over there, this
Yeah.
war. And whether you like it or not, basically, like, whichever way you fall on the situation, it's still like, oh, okay, if you're attending this college, your money is going to basically fund a war.
Yeah.
And so all these kids are showing up to ask for a word I learned recently called divestment, which basically means pull your money out of these things that are supporting that.
like,
And-
why is my tuition money going towards something that
Yeah.
And apparently, long history of that happening on college campuses. During the apartheid in the 90s in Africa, there was like a lot of protesting for that. The Vietnam War, and so it like I feel like that was like my puzzle piece clicking in, being like, oh,
That makes sense.
that makes sense. Now, I think a lot of stuff gets muddied on social media, whether or not people realize they're showing up and protesting that.
Yeah, right.
But-
right.
People love a protest.
People love a
like,
protest.
give me a reason
Yeah.
to protest.
But it was it USC who canceled their graduation
Yeah.
because of it? I want to say it was USC.
Canceling, like,
UCLA is
threats?
heavily thinking about canceling their
Yes,
graduation over.
but USC it's so crazy because all these people graduating this year also didn't have a high school graduation because
Yeah,
of
so
COVID.
there's-
Can you
There's a mom.
imagine?
There's a mom that's connected to our church, and she was like crying. She's
Yeah.
like, my son didn't have a high school
Yep.
graduation, and now he doesn't even get a college graduation.
Yeah.
and she's like, I understand there's a lot going on, and I get
Yeah.
it. She's like, I get that they're trying to fight for the right thing, but they're like, she's like,
Yeah.
my son will never have another graduation. Like this is his last opportunity.
And
Okay,
then
well, way to lower his standards. Bo, you can get a doctorate. You can get a master's.
No,
Just
no,
go
thank you.
back to school. Do more
thank you.
school.
Yeah.
That'll be
Yeah,
that'll be
and
better.
then
More money into the
yesterday,
war.
Yeah.
yesterday was a
Funny.
big one because it was UCSD had their biggest protest yesterday, and a bunch of students got arrested.
Yeah.
Well, I saw that USC was like in talks of negotiation with those protesters, that they were like actually going to
They are
maybe
they are
divest
now
some of their funds.
but not UCSD.
That sucks for the
The
people
damage is
who,
already
like,
done, though.
Yeah, that like it sucks the idea of having your like especially if you're like, oh well, whatever, it's just high school. Like
You know
when I
what we
graduate
need?
college or
I got the
something.
solution right
Yeah.
here.
Oh,
Give it to me.
College needs a student council. Okay.
Okay.
And they're in charge of.
Don't they have
they
one?
have investors. They have investors that we'll give them like what this is the best thing you should do.
Yeah.
But I think there should be a student council that approves all the investing opportunities.
I love
Yeah,
that.
Because it's right. If you're paying
at
to go
least
there,
some
you should
student
know.
representation,
Right. You should
certainly,
have-
or maybe alumni.
Because right now it's like it's hard because college is a bunch of adults. Really, I mean, adult age
Grown-ups.
people, right? But I'm like, to some degree, it's like, yeah, I'm paying to go here. Like, we should have a say in how the money gets used. And now, if it's getting used for certain things like faculty or programs, like even that, like, where's that money going to?
I
think-
imagine the residuals from these, major, and we're talking like ETFs and stuff. We're talking like
Right.
major money accounts that are like a lot of different things. But you can there is focuses in like technologies, in like local stuff,
I want to
international
say
stuff.
state schools have like student boards,
Sure.
but it's not
We're
private.
and John talking about the top 50 schools in the U.S. We're talking about something like $500 billion.
Wow.
500 bill.
Well, the reason I say that too
Who
is
was
I
number
just
one?
heard
Was it Yale or Harvard?
Yeah, Yale.
I
was
heard
up
of a
there.
guy who he's been the president of like 4 major universities. Brown, and I can't
Princeton?
remember. Maybe it was Princeton.
Does that mean he's really good at it or
no,
bad at it?
he was bad at it. because
Okay.
the
Kept
first one,
switching.
they were paying him $1.2 million a year to be the dean or president of of these universities. And basically, he was he grew up as like a business guy, and that's how he got into it. He had no education background, and so he'd cut anything that didn't make the university money. So like all the arts program,
Yeah.
music programs, all got cut. And they were just saying like all the ridiculous things. Like at one point, he moved from one university to the next, and then he had like a private credit card that he was basically allowed to expense anything, and he always wore bow ties, and he had that like the next university that took him on paid $6 million to renovate his mansion that was on school property, and then also they had a $700,000 budget item every year for him to throw parties at his house, like for like different
Jeez.
like they called it
Staff.
fundraisers and stuff too. And then also he spent like $70,000 on bow ties and bow tie clips every year. And it wasn't until they started going through it, then he was like, they were like, oh, you're spending all this money. He's like, oh, like I don't like that people are looking into my budget, blah, blah. And they're like, yeah, we're glad we did. And now he doesn't work for university anymore. But I'm saying like that's the culture in university though, is like there isn't a lot. I don't think there's a lot of accountability as to where this money is
Could you
going.
spend $70,000 on clothes, John? If you really tried, $70,000 on bow ties and bow tie clips.
Yeah, it was
Is that out
that.
of your mind?
And there's like all these photos of him like posing in front of his boat. He has like these huge bow tie racks in his house.
The ladies are saying yes. $70,000.
Oh, I could spend
Easy.
$70,000
So
on clothes
easy.
so
What?
quickly.
So
Okay.
easy.
What?
They
That's-
would mostly be shoes, probably.
The one thing I want from Tiffany's is more than $70,000.
What is it? What's
It's
one
called
thing?
a wedding
called
ring.
It's their
A ring.
bone cuff. It's a cuff for your bracelet, and it is so it's gorgeous.
Okay.
It is gorgeous.
The
How much
cheaper
is it?
version, the cheaper version, you can get the like cheap one,
Like the base
small
model?
Is it like
yeah,
40?
that it's like in silver and it's like $7,000.
Oh.
But the gold one, the gold Tiffany bone cuff is like
Oh.
$36,000.
Could you leave the
Or
house
it's like
wearing
Easily.
that, knowing
I
how much
could
it was?
spend $70,000
gosh.
so easy on clothes and accessories. So easy.
That's
so easy shoes.
wild.
Shocking.
I don't even know where I'd start.
10
so
pairs of
shocking.
shoes. The 10 pairs of shoes I want are
I mean, you're looking at
Yeah.
you're looking at like
But think about it
$70,000
this
right
way.
there.
It's like,
10 pairs
could you
of
spend
shoes.
$70,000 on camera gear? It's like
Yeah, come on.
Yeah.
Immediately.
No,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, put in your
Not apples to
contacts.
apples. Not apples to apples.
No, but it's
what
like
you're passionate
apples
about.
to
I
like
could buy one camera for like
applesauce.
$30,000. So that's not like
I could walk into like
I could buy one pair of
Nordstrom's
shoes
and
for
spend
$30,000.
$70,000.
Oh, easy.
in a Nordstrom's.
The pair of
Yeah.
a pair of pants that I would like are like $200. So I can
Yeah.
get
You
those,
get a couple
all of those
pairs of
pants.
pants.
Okay.
Not a
So-
couple,
Literally,
in
5
every
pairs of pants,
color.
$1,000.
Okay, so you're gonna buy 70
No,
divided
I
by
didn't
five.
get the $3,000
70 divided by
dress.
five.
I'm gonna get a $2,500 dress,
Screw you,
couple of
Siri.
those in different colors.
I do think we should narrow it that this guy spent $70,000 on one
Yeah,
Bow
that's what I'm saying,
ties?
bow ties and
On
No,
one
clips.
year.
here's my
A
thing,
year.
right? He's probably
Bow ties
getting
and bow tie clips.
bow ties custom made from like, silk that he's
fabric.
stealing
Yes.
off of the back of like indigenous children. Like
Sure.
he's probably paying
These bow
a
tie
crap
clips
ton.
are made out of like
One of a
whale
kind.
teeth.
All these
Yeah.
are one of a kind.
Yeah.
You
One of a
can't-
kind.
you
He's
can't
walking
get those
He can't get there
into
somewhere. He
Louis
can't-
Vuitton.
Jades and
Yeah, it's
emeralds.
like, oh, you think I'm
It's
getting
just
my bow tie
it's just
clips
a
at
person's salary to
Nordstrom?
make bow ties, a different one
They're
every day.
they're really crappy, but he wears it and he pays like $50,000 for it.
God.
Yeah, like
It's someone's
vibes.
job
They're
to
all
make him a new
Gucci.
one every day.
Ain't no way.
All Gucci brand.
But yeah, so that's what I'm saying. That combined with obviously what we're talking about too is like I feel like there's just not a lot of accountability when
No.
it comes
Yeah.
to money in universities.
No,
and I
certainly
think
not.
that should change, right? It should have some sort of student representation.
It should.
but-
It tracks to me. I feel that like a lot of things that it's money driven. So
Right.
the people at the top are going to be the ones making decisions. And if they're like, okay, I'm unaffected by it. I'm a multimillionaire, but I'm going to say that this money is either going to go in this thing or in this thing. And this one's making billions of dollars and this one's making hundreds of millions. Well, it's like, well, of course, we're going to make billions of dollars. Now it's literally warmongering, but whatever, it's
I do think
it's money.
I do
We
think
love
it
money.
is. I'm with you guys. I'm all for protest. I think it's so cool when young adults or even when like you see high school students protesting for things. I think advocacy is huge. I think you should go out there and fight for what you believe in. But I do think it is sad that the university's solution is to just cancel graduation.
Yeah,
It's
because I don't
crazy.
see
It's
how
so
that's solving
tone-deaf.
anything.
Because it's
crazy.
so
It's
Making
anything.
things worse.
Yeah, like if anything, be like, here, register for your tickets. Tickets are free.
Or let's have a big summit. Let's really like if they're
Sure.
like, okay, great. You guys, obviously it's a day one thing because they're already protesting. So
Yeah.
you're not listening to their demands
Yeah.
before that.
true.
Like you would think that you would want the student body involved in some sort of decision making.
Well,
but
and I think the reality too is I think what the strategy is they're taking away another element for students to protest because I think that's a good opportunity for students who want to protest who don't want to participate in graduation and be like, well, we're not going to go.
Yeah.
And I think that sends a message, but I think the university is trying to get ahead of that by being like, well, we're just going to take it away.
We're just gonna cancel it.
So you can't protest by
in that,
not going.
and
you
that
know?
maybe the protesters would show up to the graduation
Right.
and make a big scene or something.
Like let them have their peace. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like that's the one thing that's the one thing we really like about America is that you can go out and peaceful protest.
I mean, we're talking about
and not
like
get in
First
trouble.
Amendment stuff,
Right,
And
right.
and that's getting like cut off at
From the
pass.
people who are like again who have universities have a history of taking large sums of money from people to really not offer things that are that great. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying, to some degree, and I think that's sad. It's
colleges.
tough.
Go ahead, Amy.
Scam.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
I think like the solution is don't go to college.
Okay.
Invest your money elsewhere. Invest your money in you and not in more. Or transition. Oh, I was just
you were
just
just-
say or just research what your college is going to spend your tuition on before you go.
Yeah. But you're cooking up something over there.
transitioning-
Yeah, what you got?
Speaking of protests,
Yeah.
Ryan turned me on to this news story, and it's about
Seen it.
a
Love it.
pastor
Oh.
who it starts like this, right?
Seen it. Hate it. Is what
More,
it is.
hate
more
it.
importantly, it's about a pastor's wife.
Well,
Yes.
yeah, it's a pastor at the end of the sermon says like, and I'm going to ask you guys all to like stand up and like in silence leave the church. I have bad news. My wife died from a self-inflicted wound. Like she like killed herself. I just got word in North Carolina she killed herself and this stuff. And like it's obviously devastating for my family, all this stuff. And at first you're like, well, it's kind of like a weird way
Crazy
to like tell
sad.
everyone. And then you start looking deeper. She was divorcing him. They were not together. She has like all these allegations against him of him being abusive and like psycho and all this stuff. And she'd like been trying to leave him. And then her obituary that comes out was like, she was a loving wife, obedient to her husband, who she thought he was the funniest pastor ever. And
We're
she,
talking
like,
of course about
That's a weird ad. I'm just gonna say, and like in any
Yeah.
obituary, to say that like she thought he
her-
was funny. Like speaking on behalf of the person who passed away is weird.
And
It's so
then to
weird.
find out that that
Oh.
person did not think that.
Yeah, no, of course they're getting.
Tell you
divorced.
what, as of 2 hours ago when we recorded this, Robeson County Sheriff's Office ruled it a suicide.
Because the whole thing was people thought that he had had a part of it.
Killed
Like
her.
he had killed her.
Well, did you hear the other piece about it?
We're talking
Still
about,
could be.
by the way,
The-
the woman's name is Micah Miller.
No,
and
Yeah,
you
say
guys
her
have
name.
no
this is
idea.
happening in Myrtle Beach right
Oh,
now.
Yeah.
Myrtle
No
Beach.
idea. So the
Give it to me.
pastor has a girlfriend.
Yes.
You knew that. The girlfriend's former husband died in a suspicious way as well.
And that
In a
pastor
similar
gave his.
time frame.
No
The
way.
pastor was
Yes.
the one who spoke the eulogy at his funeral.
Yes.
And now
sh-
she's with him.
So he was in a
Whose
wheelchair.
wife just committed suicide.
He had a bad accident a long time ago. Was in a wheelchair for 20 years while he's with
Wow.
the pastor's girlfriend, and then they split up. And
sad.
so yeah, and so he lived at this apartment complex that had a pool, and he lived there for 20 years. And I guess like during their marriage, every Sunday they'd go down to the pool and they'd relax and have a good time.
And their kids would swim and stuff.
Yeah, and then he was found at the bottom of the pool. Yeah, and they said that he accidentally drove himself in there and missed it. But they were like, he's been going to that pool for 20 years. Like he knows, like accidents happen, obviously, but
This is gonna be
he's
a
like,
lifetime
He
movie.
knows that
I
he
sure
knows the
hope
area
it's a
really
Dateline.
well, and he was somehow by himself, and he drove himself into the pool, and he drowned.
The
because no one was
most
there to save
chilling
him.
part of the whole thing is that Pastor Miller's story. He jumps up on stage. He does freaking 2 sermons. By the way, if my wife had killed herself the day
Yeah,
before,
100%.
I wouldn't be anywhere near that place. I'd be, in a hole somewhere. That's beside the point.
Yeah.
Does 2 sermons, and at the end of the second sermon, exactly what Annie's saying, he goes, "Oh, and please," and I'm going to make an announcement right now, and please leave quietly. Nobody talk about the announcement. Don't
Yeah.
talk about it as you leave.
What?
My wife,
Yeah.
That's what he said.
my wife has killed herself, self-inflicted gunshot wound. Everybody, you all know that she was unwell.
Yeah, literally,
you all
he
know
said
that she
she's
was
like,
unwell.
we all knew she
We all
was,
knew,
had mental
and we couldn't get
battles and-
her medication to her. Turns out, this girl on TikTok, by the way, we should probably link it below because this girl is an absolute sleuth. Yeah,
She is. Love
she
her.
went down the rabbit hole of researching both of their social medias. Micah was going to another church. She had just got rebaptized, and somebody on the comment section, it said like, "Oh, did you get rebaptized?" She said, "Yeah, bad memories from the first one." She got baptized by her husband
the first time.
Yep, in the church. She's going to this new church. All of her posts are like, "You can get out of your abusive
She literally
relationship.
had a
Like, reach out
TikTok
for
where
help."
She was like, "Listen, you don't have to be stuck in that abusive relationship. I should know. You don't have to stay with the person who is verbally abusive, who forces you to take illegal drugs." And she looks at the camera and she keeps going. And I was like, this is not a girl. And then you look at her obituary that I'm sure he wrote, which was like, she loved her husband and was very obedient. And I was like, what?
But critical flaws in the whole thing was, one, again, showing up on Sunday and acting like nothing was wrong until the
Jesus.
very end. 2, also him writing him in there, but himself saying she thought
loved her
my husband
husband.
was hilarious.
Yeah, she thought
That
her
is
husband
such a
was so
weird
funny.
detail. Not necessary. That narcissist just got caught up while he was writing it, being like, and she thought I was so funny.
So this is breaking news. Robeson County Sheriff's Office released investigation stuff. They said they received a call just before 3 p.m. on Saturday, April 27th, from a woman who asked if her phone could be located because she was going to kill herself and wanted her family to be able to find her body. During the conversation, the woman hung up the phone and they couldn't contact her again. They go to the Lumber River State Park in Orem. Deputies and state park rangers conducted a search. They found a black Honda Accord that was registered to Miller. They found in the passenger seat a gun case and a box of ammunition. They discovered a receipt from the gun from a pawn shop and receipt from a convenience store in the car. During the search
It's looking kind of fishy. Unless some footage comes forward on that pawn shop.
of her buying the gun, maybe.
Yeah, then, I mean, but even then, maybe she was buying it for self-defense and they ended up twisting that, using that against it. I don't know, but it's
They received a call saying they found a body in the water and they found the handgun in the water.
That's just what a weird. Okay, here's my thing, right? And you don't know what's going through her mind. When someone decides to make a decision like that, you don't no one can be there to speak for what logic or what is happening. But if she had just called to say I want to make sure my family can find my body, and then you kill yourself in the river,
yeah,
in
that's
the
crazy.
water.
Without your phone?
Without your phone, and then
With your phone,
that's
it
what
would
does it.
ruin
If you want them to find you, why would you then add that?
I gotta hear
obstacle?
the call.
Yeah, it all has to come out. And you're so
Yeah,
right. It is going to be a Netflix special for sure. And it's going to be Predatory Pastor.
Oh, really?
Netflix this
You're
summer.
harping on the pastor. I was thinking like because they're gonna add in the fact that the pastor's husband died too.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Like the pastor's the one that ties all these tragedies
All
together.
my exes.
No,
live
it'll be
in-
something stupid.
All my
It'll be like
dated this pastor.
suicide, the suicide of religion or something.
Oh, okay.
Guys,
That's deep.
not looking good. She's on camera buying the gun at 12 o'clock.
Well,
Unfortunate. Now, we don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
we don't know.
That's
and I'm not saying
that's
that
sad.
anything nefarious did happen. It's a tragedy. Point blank. It's a tragedy.
I'm not
and
laughing at a tragedy. We're just
we had a technical difficulty that we're coming back from.
difficulties.
But it's a tragedy, and I hope that we get answers. And I hope that not that necessarily there's anyone to bring to justice, but I think it just should shed light on the reality of like how dangerous these relationships can be. And like the most dangerous time for a woman to leave an abusive relationship is when she decides to leave.
Yeah.
Like right after she decides to leave is the like that's when it gets so heightened.
And imagine like you're surrounded too with people that like are taking sides, like especially like in a church environment. Like
I saw that they were protesting the church. Speaking of protesting, they were protesting outside the church saying justice for Micah Miller.
Justice for Micah.
And
because there's like, I mean, we're talking about families and like interpersonal relationships that are like getting fed one thing from the pastor and one thing from the wife, right?
Yeah.
And people are making up their minds. And that's the same, that's not, like specific to churches. I think people do that in life anyways,
But I think you're right. It's gonna be a Netflix doc
Gnarly.
for sure.
We'll see.
Oh, not looking forward to it. Sad stuff. But boy, do I love real
I
crime.
love true crime.
In the
love
post show, we're
crime.
going to talk about Kara's show.
Oh, we had a
Speaking
little
of
opening
shows.
weekend
The post show moment.
at SDMT.
You'll have
for
to be there.
Kara.
To see it though, so
Yes. By the way, link down below in the bio for the Patreon.
Oh, okay.
let's hop on over there, guys. Come on.
Yeah, guys.
Hop on
We want to
over.
thank you for listening
Yes.
to this episode 181 of What the Podcast. If you stuck around since the beginning, we know who you are,
You
and we
deserve
love
a
you
medal.
for
Yep.
it. Yeah.
Thanks, Kat and Michael.
Straight to the
Not Cat and Michael.
okay.
Thanks, Jacob Nichols.
Jake.
Aw,
Yep.
thanks, Jake.
Illy
Jake
SM
Kitten.
to the real listeners. And yeah, that's it. Love it. Love
Yep.
you guys. Let's do it. On the couch as always, Kara Tafoya, Annie the Scope Scuffman. I'm Ryan.
I'm John.
And we'll see you next week on What
the
Podcast. That'll be
You
easy.
know
can
who's
just
gonna
tag
be
it
a
on at the
listener
end.
for
Not
life?
worried about it all.
Go ahead.
Baby Scout Kitten.
I thought you were
Yeah,
going to
she
say
listens to
Baby
us.
Albright.
Listen
listens to it.
listener for life. Thanks, Scout.
When you guys
Thanks,
finally
Baby
have a kid,
Scout.
can you announce it in this part of the show?
Well, I have to announce it on the podcast for you, but I have to then tell you before.
No, on the
I'll
You
exit.
tell
can tell Annie.
I'll
On the
kill
exit
you.
music. On
Yeah,
the
that's the
exit
way it
music.
goes.
If I find out you have a kid on this
You don't
podcast
want to know
before,
on
right?
the podcast.
Hey guys.
Annie doesn't
Hey guys.
want to know from Ryan.
Hey guys. Show's over.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.